Good morning, my name is Jizelle Dominguez and I will be discussing policy debate and some of the aspects of policy debate. So first, I'll welcome anyone to take notes, but it is not required. To start off with, when joining policy debate, you will be given a national topic that lasts for the year, and your job is to basically find a resolution that will help solve the problem being the national topic. Moving on to the resolution, it needs to be persuasive, although sometimes it does depend on who your judge is. Obviously, before the debate, you will not be having a conversation about the judge and their life. Either way, you need to work through every idea to be certain that your resolution will work. When in debate, you will be assigned as either affirmative or negative with the partner. The affirmative supports the resolution versus the negative, which goes against the resolution. In policy, there is a certain type of organization that you will need to follow and can be found in the presentation and the order in which both teams go in and their time limits. So basically, the constructive speeches will be first, and they are to depend on how long you take, which will be up to 8 minutes. And then between those constructive speeches, there will be questioning from the other side, and there are specific people who go and question you, which will be up to 3 minutes, depending on how long it take, and same thing for rebuttals, except they are 5 minutes long. Moving on, when it comes to the affirmative and negative, as I said before, the affirmative finds evidence to prove that their resolution is a good idea, versus the negative, which uses evidence to prove that their proposal is a bad idea. Not only that, but the speech needs to be persuasive, and please be mindful of what you are saying, or else the other team will try to use it against you. It is important that you respond to each argument made by the other side to make yourself look even stronger than the other side. Moving on, when finding your sources, think of it like finding sources for an essay. Try to cite a few sources to make yourself look more credible in your speech, and which appeals to the judge. Try not to overdo it though, but do a good amount. Ask yourself these questions: is my source too old? Where are my sources from? And are these opinion-based sources? Not to mention, there is also a thing called cards in policy debate. It basically means evidence. The other team is allowed to ask for your cards, so if they see something that they can use against you, they will do that, and making you look even less credible. And obviously, it's not going to bode well for you from the judge's perspective. Just a few tips: look into depth for your issues, which is a given, but I gave some examples in the presentation that may help offer some ideas to the students. And in my presentation, I just want to let you know that this is a national topic from 2020 to 2021. So it's going to be different every year. And so, like I said, these are just examples. So please try not to use them if it's a different national topic. Also, try to look at something that actually interests you and your partner, because it does help with other things like passion or confidence, maybe even the way your tone is when you give your speech. After all this, try to make a claim for yourself. As for my example, I focused on food and was basically straightforward with my position and my ideas. After, ask yourself some questions that would help your small speech flow better to progress further, and try to input more of yourself in the speech, such as emotion and with more commentary, if you have not done that already. In my opinion, the best way to describe this is like writing an essay while you expound the significance of your points. While you debate, there are techniques to go over called clash methods that would make the other side appear more weak, as listed in the presentation. Right here, I'll explain them. The first is direct denial or direct refutation. The second one is challenge the relevance of the opposition's claims to the issue being debated. The third is attack the warrants or reasons stated for the claim. The fourth is attack the evidence or proof used to support the claim. And the fifth is to turn the opponent's claim, warrants, or proof to the advantages. So all in all, you're just trying to find weaknesses in the other's arguments. Like, you can, as another example, you can look onto ethics. There's different aspects of ethics that can help you look even better than the other side. Basically, you're supposed to be persuasive. You need to be persuasive for your speech, because while in the debate, it's, from personal experience, it's going to be a little bit harder to make your rebuttal speech right, like before the debate. For me, I always make my constructive speeches, and then during the debate, I take notes on what they're going to say, and I would make their notes. I would take their notes and turn it into my rebuttal, because I don't think anyone can basically freestyle their rebuttal without hearing the other side's points, because they're the ones you're going against. Lastly, know your stock issues. These are very important in policy debate because the other team will try to use them against you. It's usually the negative using stock issues. It's usually the negative using stock issues against the affirmative. It's possible that the affirmative can be using stock issues against the negative, but it's easier for the negative to do it against the affirmative because the affirmative presents the resolution, so it's more of their plan. So if you were to put yourself in a debate right now, and I were to bring up a topic I was to bring up the topic of any idea, you would use stock issues to be like, oh, that's not right, in a way. Okay, to present the stock issues. So be aware of significance, harms, inherency, topicality, and solvency, and justification. For significance, it's basically finding what the effect is of the resolution. If there is no effect, then the resolution can't help anything. So think about that. The harms is basically who would the resolution be harming, or who would the resolution be harming, and like what the problems are with the status quo. If you don't know what status quo is, like the current things, like the status quo is I'm talking. Okay, and then inherency, it will be refers to the cause of the status quo, and it's going over about what harms aren't already being solved. So there's three types. There's the three main types: structural inherency, which surrounds the law, and then attitudinal inherency, which is beliefs or attitudes, and then there's existential inherency. It's the current events, like what's happening right now. And then there is topicality, which is like the team telling the judge that, hey, the affirmative is not making a resolution that is related to the national topic. And then there's solvency, which goes over the issues that refers to the clear advantages of the affirmative plan in solving the harms of the status quo. So basically goes over who, why, like the more specific part of the resolution. So that's why we do questioning, to make sure you understand every aspect of the resolution. And then lastly, there's justification. So does the case and the plan justify the resolution? How I see this, because obviously, like when you're in a debate, you can interpret this in your own way, and again, it's all up to technique and what you see it as best. Now, with justification, you'll be going over it. It has a lot of definitions. So one of them is, does it actually match with who this resolution is for? So I could be making a resolution that is for Europe, but that wouldn't be right because this is supposed to be a resolution that is for the U.S. So yeah, that's where the affirmative would be at fault. Okay, so yeah, you can find them in the presentation when making your speech, your speech has to refute all possible points that surround stock issues. So I suggest asking yourself questions that the other team may bring up, or maybe have someone read your speech, and then have someone read your speech that ask you questions that you can fix before you actually have to present it. Lastly, in my personal experience, debate is going to be difficult. So remember that. But it's really good practice to understand stock issues thoroughly. Now, I really, really do emphasize the knowledge of stock issues because it's going to help you a lot whether you're affirmative or negative. Because if you're affirmative, I mean, if you thoroughly understand stock issues, it's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be a lot easier to find sources and then be able to organize your thoughts into the speech. And then for negative, when you listen to the affirmative speech, it's gonna be easier to know that their weaknesses, because the point is to make the affirmative look less credible, and then make you appear stronger and more amazing. So yeah, I just hope that this helps with your confidence and being more persuasive, or help you develop your own persuasive techniques. Thank you.